We are just 2 hours away from fireworks being illegal to shoot off here in Utah. The message firefighters have this 4th of July weekend.
Plus, a large fire ripping through an abandoned historic hotel in Tooele. Why some consider this fire suspicious.
Plus, thousands of miles to send a powerful message. Why these former UVU students are walking across the entire country.
And it was a hot holiday weekend, and we've got an even hotter week ahead. We'll have the forecast coming up.
Live from Fox 13 Studios, this is Fox 13 News at 9.
The 4th of July weekend is about to come to a close, and soon those fireworks that filled the sky will be illegal once again. You're taking a live look from our Old Mill camera where fireworks filled the sky late last night and into the early morning hours in some spots, but not tonight.
We could be seeing them in a little bit, though. Fox 13's Spencer Joseph is joining us live with how fire crews handled things last night and what they now want people to know ahead of Pioneer Day in just a few weeks. Spencer?
Yeah, absolutely. We've been kind of watching it as well up here. Got a good spot in the avenues looking over. There was just one as you tossed to me right over my shoulder. It made me jump. But as for last night, fire crews were running from spot to spot to spot to make sure that everybody was staying safe through the 4th of July holiday.
The holiday always brings, extra call volume for us, whether it's Salt Lake City or any city throughout the state.
With no community fireworks shows to gather at, many turn to their neighborhoods for the 4th of July spectacles.
Aerial fireworks going on.
But it was a night with a lot of calls for Salt Lake City Fire.
There was a small window right about dusk. Our call volume picked up in the city, and we were running, call after call after call for about our 2 or 3 hour window.
Every single unit, the valley was just busy.
The Unified Fire Authority saw the same.
People's front yards, bushes next to houses, we saw a lot of those. Backyard, so it wasn't necessarily just field. We saw multiple trash fires and dumpster fires last night.
Down south in St. George, a brush fire grew quickly right after a large fireworks show. This is just one of many other incidents around the state. But even if you are safe with fireworks, they can still cause problems.
We hosed them all down for quite a while and then put them in the garbage can. So there was nothing else in there but wet fireworks.
This was the fire last night at Rebecca Scheisman's home. You could see the trash can on fire, growing quickly.
According to the videotapes, it took over an hour for that fire to even start.
There could have been far more damage if it wasn't for a good Samaritan that saw the burning trash can and dragged it away from the home before waking up the family.
It opened our eyes to how people are still good people these days. We don't know him, but he risked himself grabbing that.
So with all the calls last night, the message from fire crews is,
there's times and there's appropriate types of fireworks that we can use. And so if everyone stays within the rules, we should have a relatively safe holiday weekend, both this weekend and with the upcoming 24th celebration.
And for all of you out there, like you said, you have about 2 hours left at 11 o'clock tonight. It is illegal to set off fireworks until July 22nd through the 25th. So if you've got some extras, you've got about 2 hours. Otherwise, you got to wait a couple of weeks. In Salt Lake City, Spencer Joseph, Fox 13 News, Utah.
All right, Spencer, thank you. And a good thing those fireworks will soon be illegal. Dina Friedman in with us tonight. And in the next couple of days, those winds will pick up and it's going to stay hot and dry. Not a good mix with fireworks, Dina.
Definitely. We're increasing the fire danger in the next couple of days here. Old Mill camera now just showing clear skies all around. The sun's getting low, so like Spencer was saying, you've got about 2 hours to use up your fireworks, but use extreme caution because it is really dry out there. Temperature has already dropped now to 84, down from a high of 94 earlier today. So it was a very warm day. And as you just heard, increased fire danger. We have a red flag warning for all the counties that you see here in red. And that's actually for Tuesday. Now, that doesn't mean that it's safe to do anything today, tomorrow. There's still active fire weather conditions, but there's actually this warning on Tuesday, fire weather conditions becoming critical by then because we're increasing the winds. 80 in Provo, 86 in Grand Junction, 94 Green River, and 98 in St. George. So it was a warm day with lots of sunshine. We've got clear skies overnight A nearly full moon, not quite full, but almost. And hot and dry conditions continue for the next couple of days. Here's a lucky number for you, 97. That's a good one. Hot and breezy for the next couple of days. Very warm weather. We may even hit 100 degrees, and the air quality doesn't look so great either. So we'll take a look at that outlook in a little while.
Let's take a look at some of the fires burning across the state right now. The Eagle Fire started last night. It has now burned over 105 acres. It was human caused and is 90% contained. The largest fire in the state, the Canal Fire, now 83% contained. It has burned more than 76,000 acres in Millard and Juab counties.
And the Rock Path Fire west of Fillmore has burned more than 20,000 acres and is 90% contained. And after forcing thousands of Saratoga Springs residents from their homes and scorching 13,000 acres, the Knowles Fire is now fully contained.
This video shows flames tearing through the historic Broadway Hotel in Tooele this morning.
Fox 13's Adam Herbetz shows us why some people in Tooele say this story is all too familiar.
Well, the Broadway Hotel is a building that has been abandoned now for a long time. Neighbors say there always seems to be a story about someone coming in to restore it, and there always seems to be a story about it catching on fire. This is not the first rodeo for Tooele firefighters. Once again, back out to a familiar location, putting out flames at the historic Broadway Hotel.
Since I was a kid, it's been boarded up.
The Tooele City Fire Department is made up of mostly volunteers. On this case, they determined it was too dangerous to go inside and that the cause of the fire is suspicious.
You talk to anybody in Tooele, they think down on Broadway.
Even on the 5th of July, most neighbors say they doubt this was caused by fireworks, that more often than not, it's from someone who's not supposed to be living inside.
That's an eyesore to me. It's an eyesore.
In fact, 1 year ago, this was the headline of the Transcript Bulletin. Quote, Tooele City Redevelopment Agency backs Broadway Hotel restoration.
Well, I don't think it can be restored anymore.
The project was supposed to begin in April, but the only work neighbors have seen is more people putting up plywood. Now some want the building gone for good.
I wish they just knock it down. Start all over. I hate to knock down buildings because, just get permits anymore to build a new one across the Narvin and Lake. Would it be easier if they would remodel it?
The chief says there are about 40 firefighters out here, mostly just preventing hot spots from flaring up. There also is some smoke damage to the apartments next door. Reporting in Tooele, Adam Herbetz, Fox 13 News, Utah.
Just into the Fox 13 newsroom, a Nevada man is behind bars after a multi-county crime spree this weekend.
According to court documents, 32-year-old Ian Hendricks here is accused of shooting at an ambulance on I-15 in Utah County, then stealing a UTV, possessing marijuana, and starting a fire at East Canyon Resort in Morgan. After being chased by authorities in Utah, Morgan, Summit, and Wasatch counties, deputies in Salt Lake County eventually caught Hendricks under a bridge on the on-ramp to I-15 southbound at 9th South. Hendricks also had outstanding aggravated assault and domestic violence charges against him.
Also new in the last 30 minutes, a Utah State University football player has been suspended for inappropriate racial comments made recently. The player has not been publicly identified. USU's head coach and athletic director made a joint statement saying in part, this will not be tolerated and that appropriate action will be taken pending an investigation. Now to the fight against COVID-19. We saw 410 more positive coronavirus tests since yesterday, bringing the total to just under 25,000 cases statewide. And 3 more men have lost their lives to COVID-19 in Utah. They were from Utah, Salt Lake, and Washington counties. Utah has seen 184 COVID-19 related deaths so far.
Crews rescuing a 13-year-old boy at Bridalveil Falls this afternoon after he broke his femur. Provo firefighters say the boy was riding on a four-wheeler when he tipped over. Medical helicopters were called in to help out. Thankfully, the boy is expected to be okay.
Justice for Bernardo!
The Those chants in honor of Bernardo Palacios, who was killed by Salt Lake City police over Memorial Day weekend. 1 month after the violent protests in Salt Lake City, the demonstration by Liberty Park today took a different turn. This was dubbed a family-friendly march for justice. Aside from some road closures, all indications show this demonstration, like most of them over the past month, remained peaceful.
Now an update to breaking news we brought you Friday night. Community members are now raising money for a South Salt Lake boy seriously hurt after a truck crashed into his home. Thankfully, a Good Samaritan stepped in after seeing the driver of the truck crash through a fence and into a garage, trapping the boy inside. The boy's siblings, ages 2 and 5, were not hurt. So far, more than $3,000 have been raised for the boy's family for mounting medical bills. If you'd like to help, we have a link to the GoFundMe on fox13now.com.
Unified Fire is investigating a fire in a garage that spread to a home this afternoon. It all happened at 3381 South, 3175 West around 1 p.m. Fire crews from South Salt Lake and Salt Lake City were called in to help. Thankfully, no injuries to report from the firefight. The extent of the damage is not yet known.
And a late-night crash in Kearns sent 4 people to the hospital. Unified Police say it happened at 4620 West, 5215 South around 11. Police say a southbound car with 4 people ran a stop sign and T-boned another car in that intersection. One person in the back seat of the southbound car was ejected from a side window and is in extremely critical condition. The crash is now under investigation. A Cedar City man died this weekend while in custody at the Iron County Jail. Deputies say just before 6 last night, 49-year-old Justin Anderson was being booked into the jail on drug-related charges. Well, Anderson went on to have a medical episode during that booking process. Jail staff and paramedics tried to save his life, but were unable to do so. The cause of Anderson's death is under investigation.
Authorities along the Utah-Arizona border are looking for a missing man. Take a look here. This is 47-year-old Lance Bush. Mojave County Sheriff's Office says he vanished yesterday around 1 p.m. south of I-15 along Black Rock Road on the Arizona Strip. Bush was last seen wearing cargo shorts and a tank top. If you have any tips for investigators regarding Bush's whereabouts, contact the Mojave County Sheriff's Office.
Still to come, the man set to face Ben McAdams for his seat in Congress gets a major endorsement. Who's backing Burgess Owens after his big win in the primary election.
Plus, the message 2 former UVU students hope to spread in the ambitious way they're going about it. Coming up. New tonight, President Donald Trump has endorsed the man who has been set to challenge Ben McAdams for his seat in Congress. Burgess Owens just won the Republican primary for Utah's 4th congressional district last week. Trump voiced his support for Owens on Twitter, saying he knows how to win. Owens tweeted his gratitude to have Trump's support, saying the endorsement was an honor.
And here at home, and it was a special 4th of July weekend for one Weber County Purple Heart recipient and his family. They got their first look at their mortgage-free smart home. The Tunnel to Towers Foundation has provided Sergeant First Class Travis Vandella with his wife and children a new home specially made to fit his needs. The home has automatic doors, widened hallways, and many features that can be controlled through an app. In February of 2007, Vandella was on his 3rd deployment to Iraq when his Humvee was hit by explosives. He lost both legs and suffered a traumatic brain injury.
From the halls of Utah Valley University to the roads of America, 2 former UVU students are traveling across the country in hopes of making a difference.
It's a story that you'll only see here. Fox 13's John Franke shows us how these 2 Utahns are letting their feet do the talking.
Paul Chavez and James Allen Thompson are in the middle of an incredible journey. They're walking thousands of miles to deliver a message and inspire change.
There's a lot of chaos in the country that we're seeing on mass media.
Scenes like this inspired Paul Chavez and James Allen Thompson to ask themselves a question.
What is it that we can do to, make an impact? And instead of just complaining about what's going on.
Their answer:
talk to people, in person and talk to them about, how, they've received kindness in their lives, and
to connect with fellow Americans.
There are good people in this country. That this country is not as divided as some might believe it is.
Paul and James are hiking from the Pacific to the Atlantic.
We're opening up a space for this conversation about peace.
They're documenting their experience on social media.
At an average pace of 15 miles a day, it should take us about 8 days to get through Yosemite over the Sierras.
Their Walk for Peace began on June 24th in San Francisco. They'll make it to Utah next month.
Once we reach Salt Lake City, we're going to do a day of kindness where we bring people together. We're going to try to serve the homeless population.
They hope to arrive in the nation's capital sometime in December. That's about 20 miles a day.
We love this country.
Several pairs of shoes.
I've got 4 pairs.
And a whole lot of conversation.
It's touching one life at a time, one day at a time.
They've already met strangers who have donated meals and offered encouragement.
Every day I just feel like, dude, little miracles are happening.
Step by step.
The idea behind this is to get people's attention.
They hope to show from coast to coast.
I want to see this country thrive.
What unites this country is much stronger than what causes division.
Hopefully this will make a little bit of a difference. To me, it's making a ripple in like a river or in a lake that potentially has the chance of causing a wave.
If you'd like to help Paul and James, we'll link you to their fundraising pages on our website. In the newsroom, Sean Franke, Fox 13 News, Utah.
Well, thanks to those 4th of July fireworks, some in the Salt Lake Valley area woke up with some bad air quality today, along with other places across the state. Dina, any indication tomorrow we'll have the same?
No, it just depends on how dicey or how excited people get tonight with their fireworks. So we woke up in the morning to that hazy layer. It mixed out throughout the day, but the air quality is forecast to be at yellow alert. We'll look at that in just a second. Right now, we still have a little bit of haze, but not nearly as thick as it was earlier today. It has cooled off out there, 84 degrees now, north winds at 8 miles per hour. So there's been some mixing of the atmosphere today. Beautiful weekend, though, especially if you got up high and got to see the clear skies and really good air quality over the Uinta Mountains. Ron sent this photo in. Wow, that's just fantastic. And get up high, get in the water. It's really warm around here. Visible satellite picture, this is kind of interesting. So you can see the photograph here turning to a black color. That's because it's the sun going down. So we can't see as much on the visible picture, but you can kind of get the last couple of hours and get an idea and see that there is nothing in the western United States as far as weather goes, all the way over to Nevada and out to California as well. So things have been pretty quiet, the moisture well off to our east, and we've just got more dry weather, and we'll have some stagnant air the next couple of days, or poor air quality, we should say. So despite there being some windy conditions, especially on Tuesday, the air quality forecast for Monday is still at yellow for most places on the Wasatch Front. So of course our fireworks will be illegal in a couple of hours. So hopefully maybe that'll help us a little bit if we don't put any of those in the sky. Wind speeds right now, it's been pretty calm today. The winds have been around 5 to 10 miles per hour mostly, and then they'll really start to pick up late tomorrow and then into Tuesday. That's why we have the red flag warning for all the counties in red here. So we'll see that increase in critical fire weather conditions. So let's hope that we can keep everything under control. And even if there's not a warning tomorrow or tonight, it's still bone dry. You know that. Things just go up in just a second. Today's high temperature hit 94. Average is 91. So if you are not crazy about temperatures in the 90s, well, we are still heading in that upward trend direction. This is the past 7 days, average high 91. We started off last week really cold, and now it's just the beginning of July, and it's very warm. Temperatures are warm right now, 84 in Salt Lake, 71 West Jordan, are currently 90 in Green River. It's actually in the 80s in West Jordan, in the 70s in Park City, 82 in Price, 83 in Cedar City, and 98 in St. George. So we've got high pressure heading off to the east now, and behind this, because high pressure circulates in this clockwise direction, so when you get this southwest flow, we get the warm weather, and it will be breezy as well. We have one very weak upper level system brushing us to the north on Tuesday, and that will give us a little bit of additional wind and some cloud cover. But for tomorrow, it's going to start off clear with nice conditions early on. 66 in Salt Lake, 61 in Price, and 71 in St. George. So it'll be a lovely morning all around. And then in the afternoon, lots of sunshine and hot weather. 97 in Salt Lake, 86 Park City, 94 in Vernal, 105 in St. George. So we're starting out your Monday just right. Temperatures extremely warm. Temperatures in the 100-degree range, 105 tomorrow in St. George, 106 there. Oh boy, on Tuesday with breezy conditions. And our 7-day forecast then in northern Utah, breezy, very warm, and then we finally break out the 3-letter word that's everyone's favorite, H-O-T. We may hit 100 by the end of the week.
It is hot, and a big contrast to last Monday when we were in the 60s.
Yeah.
High 90s tomorrow. Wow.
You know,
quite the roller coaster. Typical Utah, huh?
Yeah,
Dina?
definitely a typical roller coaster. But once we hit July, it's usually consistently hot and dry.
Hot, yes. Thanks, Dina.
Still ahead, if you get injured during a protest, you may end up running into some problems. What you need to know to make sure you're covered when it comes to your health insurance.
This is Fox 13 News.
The protests we've seen in Utah and across the country are bringing up questions about health insurance coverage for those participating.
Fox 13's Kelly Chapman shows us why there are some exceptions for certain carriers.
From small protests to large ones, Americans from coast to coast are exercising their right to free expression. But in some cases, protests that started out peaceful have turned violent.
Injured 3 people, cuts, bruises. It was bad.
A lot of rioting, just cars parked in the street were getting smashed, and then there was a brick thrown at my head.
So what happens if you're injured during civil unrest? Getting medical attention is a first priority, but will your health insurance cover you no matter what?
If a protest happens to turn violent and include some rioting, I think that would be extremely difficult for an insurance company to prove that those injuries occurred due to an excluded act.
Some policies do have exclusions, like if you take part in illegal acts or participate in civil unrest. How that's specifically defined would be up to an insurer, but it could range from vandalism and property damage to violating a community's established curfew or failing to leave an area if police order you to do so. But there are some things you can do to protect yourself in the event you are denied coverage for the treatment of injuries sustained during civil unrest. First, ask the insurance company to point out the specific language being used to deny a claim. Second, reach out to your state's Department of Insurance for help navigating the process.
And that's our job, is to regulate the insurance industry, but more importantly, to protect consumers.
While there are no reports of protesters' claims being denied so far, before it even gets to that point, it is important to understand the details in your health insurance coverage.
Certainly don't want any surprises.
And from those who have been caught by surprise.
If you notice that there are riots breaking out, it may be time to go home and support from a distance.
Kelly Chapman, Fox 13 News, Utah.
The 4th of July holiday weekend is coming to an end with protesters spilling into the streets nationwide. I'm Jackie Heinrich in New York. I've got the details coming up.
Now to your national news, and protesters hitting the streets across the country this 4th of July weekend. They've ramped up calls for police reform as a nationwide conversation on race continues. Fox's Jackie Heinrich has more from New York.
As Americans wrap up the 4th of July holiday weekend, demonstrations against racial injustice and police brutality are spreading across the U.S. Protesters in Minneapolis marched peacefully on Saturday. They gathered outside the U.S. Bank Stadium, demanding justice for George Floyd and Breonna Taylor. Unlike other rallies where chants are heard loud and clear, the activists calling for police reform made no sound. However, things took a deadly turn in Seattle. A 24-year-old protester died and another was critically injured after a car plowed into the crowd. The incident reportedly took place in a closed interstate early Saturday morning. The driver showed no signs of being impaired. He's in police custody. And in Portland, police declared a riot twice in 24 hours, ultimately using tear gas to disperse protesters burning American flags, shooting fireworks at the Justice Center and toward police, and throwing bricks and shining lasers at officers.
We are doing disservice to peaceful, lawful protesters when we call these individual protesters. They're not. They're criminal thugs with an agenda.
Black Lives Matter. And more flag burning in the nation's capital. Demonstrators in D.C. marched along the National Mall to Lafayette Plaza, chanting America was never great. The protest took place just steps away from the White House, where President Trump was hosting a Salute to America event. In nearby Baltimore, protesters pulled down a statue of Christopher Columbus on Independence Day. Using ropes, they toppled the monument near Little Italy. The demonstrators say the Italian explorer is responsible for the genocide and exploitation of Native Americans. The crowd threw the sculpture into the city's inner harbor. Statues of Columbus have also been removed or vandalized in cities like Miami and Boston, where one was decapitated. In New York, Jackie Heinrich, Fox News.
We're waiting on 8 big Supreme Court decisions with major election year implications.
Now, normally the 9 justices would be on summer break right now, but the pandemic delayed things for a few weeks.
One is about the Electoral College, specifically what's called faithless electors. The Electoral College is the group of people across the country that actually select the President of the United States. Now, the question is whether electors are required to support the popular winner in their state's presidential race. About 30 states currently require it.
Another focuses on the Affordable Care Act, also known as Obamacare, and the birth control mandate that's part of that health care law. The case specifically deals with a Catholic organization called Little Sisters of the Poor, who believe religious objectors should not have to provide health plans that include contraceptive coverage.
And the big one, can Congress and a state grand jury get a hold of President Trump's financial records? The Democratic-controlled House wants the president's tax records. The House Oversight and Reform Committee wants to know if the president exaggerated his financial holdings before becoming president.
In your world news tonight, 2 U.S. aircraft carrier strike groups in the South China Sea are carrying out some of the largest military drills that area has seen in years. Fox's Trey Ying shows us why it's now causing problems with China.
These U.S. military exercises are taking place in the South China Sea. While the moves are not aimed at stoking tensions, the exercises will inevitably send a message to China. The USS Ronald Reagan and USS Nimitz entered the area on Saturday, joined by a number of other support vessels. Reports indicate these 2 carriers haven't operated together in the South China Sea since September of 2014. A U.S. Navy spokesperson said the drills this week were being conducted to, quote, support a free and open Indo-Pacific. The Chinese have conducted their own military drills in the South China Sea over the past week, though those exercises were scheduled to wrap up today. The U.S. Department of Defense criticized those drills last week, calling them the latest in a series of maritime actions that were aimed at making unlawful claims to territory. The U.S. military has asserted their exercises are different, calling them a show of commitment to allies when it comes to regional security and stability. China's foreign ministry disagrees.
Certain non-regional countries have traveled far to engage in large-scale military activities and flex muscles in the South China Sea. And this is the root cause of instability in the region.
With ongoing tension between Washington and Beijing over issues like trade, Hong Kong, and coronavirus, these military exercises come at an uncertain time for the region. In Jerusalem, Trey Yingst, Fox News.
Still to come, with a second wave of COVID-19 cases anticipated, is a second wave of state lockdowns on the horizon. We'll take a closer look.
And we had a very warm day today. We got up to a high temperature of 94 degrees and a low this morning of 66. Sunrise at 6:03 and sunset tonight at 9 o'clock. Tomorrow it'll be even warmer. We'll have all the details coming up after this.
Another spike of COVID-19 in some parts of the country is causing some states to partially reverse their economic reopenings.
Maya Rodriguez looks into the potential for lockdowns and how that could be on the table again for some.
The
coronavirus grip on the summer of 2020 is shaping up to mean different things to different people. Dr. Caitlin Rivers is an epidemiologist with the Johns Hopkins Center for Health Security.
The picture does look different depending on where you are looking in the country.
Only 2 states, Connecticut and Rhode Island, recorded a drop in coronavirus cases last week. In a dozen other states, cases are steady, including hard-hit New York and New Jersey, which got their number of COVID-19 cases under control. But in the other 36 states, the number of coronavirus cases is on the rise, including record-breaking numbers in Florida, Texas, Arizona, and Nevada. But Dr. Rivers says don't call it a second wave.
Most communities never left the first wave, and so it's difficult to call it a second wave.
But could a second wave of state lockdowns be on the horizon? Dr. Rivers says that would come down to a number of factors, the main one being hospital capacity.
Now, it's nobody's preference to reinstitute the lockdowns. They're enormously disruptive. They're costly, to say the least. It's a very difficult set of circumstances. So that's really for the worst case crisis situation. But we can't rule it out because we also cannot allow our healthcare systems to become overwhelmed.
That means keeping hospitals from reaching 90% capacity. Already, some states have paused their reopenings. In Arizona, Florida, and Texas, bars were ordered to shut down again because people were congregating without masks or social distancing, leading to virus outbreaks. But some medical experts warn more measures may be needed.
If we don't do something, and I mean really strong, on containment, surveillance, contact tracing, and isolation, we're in for a very, very rough time.
In the meantime, much of the protection against the virus may be left in the hands of each individual.
All of us, including those of us who live in states that are not experiencing a lot of transmission, should be spending a little bit more time at home, skipping mass gatherings, for example, wearing fabric face masks when going out into the community, and doing a really great job of hand hygiene.
In other words, not letting your guard down while the virus remains out and about. In Washington, D.C., I'm Maya Rodriguez.
Still to come, if you're looking for a job to rebound from the pandemic, we have some ideas for a new career that will allow you to work from home.
And coming up in sports, another round of highlights from home, and we'll hear from Jordan Clarkson and Quinn Snyder. They talked today about their thoughts on resuming the NBA season later this month in Florida.
Right now, more Americans are working from home than ever because of this pandemic.
And while working remotely may not be for everyone, many are enjoying it. Fox 13's Bob Evans has some tips to help you land a remote job.
It's been a really interesting few months in the terms of the remote workforce in general.
As a senior career specialist at flexjobs.com, Bree Reynolds breaks down monthly job data. Since the outbreak of the COVID-19 pandemic, she's seen a steady rise in work-from-home opportunities.
We saw about a 7% increase in April over March for the remote jobs that were listed on our site, and it continues to hold pretty strong.
Reynolds says right now the most popular work-from-home opportunities are in IT, education, customer service, writing, and project management, with a wide range of required experience.
I will say that most of the remote jobs that we see do require a bit of experience, but what I usually tell career changers that I'm working with is a good amount of whatever experience they're bringing to the table can be transferred into their new career, and it's really about how you package yourself.
So when you're writing your resume, Reynolds says first and foremost, list any prior remote work experience, including things you've done during the pandemic, and any skills that have helped you excel while working from home.
Communication skills, both in writing and verbal communication skills, those are really critical for remote work. Time and task management, being able to focus, keep yourself on track when you're working mostly from home and nobody's looking over your shoulder, and really being proactive with your communication, asking questions, not being afraid to speak up for yourself. Those are really critical skills.
But before you start applying and make a major life decision, Reynolds warns you, working from home isn't for everyone.
A big difference that people find is that it can be a little bit isolating because you're at home on your own. There's no physically present people in your office. So if you like the hum of the office and having different people walk by your desk and bumping into people in the break room, Once you're home, none of that happens. And so it can feel a little bit lonely, a little bit isolating.
Bob Evans, Fox 13 News, Utah.
There are a lot of resources to help you bounce back from the pandemic, manage the pressure, and get back to work. Just head to our website, fox13now.com, and click on the Rebound Utah tab.
If you are trying to plan out your week, make sure you either have a trip to the mountains or a pool on the schedule, Dina.
Yeah, just somewhere where it's not quite so hot. It's definitely very warm out there. And it's getting dark now, though, and people still have, what, an hour and a half on the fireworks. And we can see there were a whole bunch in this corner. Let's take a look here as we step out of the way. There were some fun fireworks going on just a second ago. Here's a wider view. You might see a few flashes here and there. I don't think we'll see nearly as much firework activity as last night, which is better for our air quality because this morning it was really hazy after all those fireworks from last night and all that fun. It's 84 degrees now with clear skies. We've got light winds out of the north at 8 miles per hour. It has been a clear day, and we're going to have a clear night, a nearly full moon. It was full last night, so lots of clear skies tonight. And again, we're going to wake up to a full day of plenty of sunshine. Now, we do have yellow air quality for most of our counties in northern Utah and in southwestern Utah as well. So that's moderate for our unhealthy, or for sensitive groups, moderately unhealthy. So keep that in mind if this affects you. Hopefully, though, it'll start to mix out a little bit more on Tuesday as the winds start to pick up. Today, the winds have been pretty calm, generally between 5 and 10 miles per hour, and the winds will really start kicking up Monday late day and into Tuesday. So that's prompting our fire weather warning here, the red flag warning. And that means we have critical fire weather conditions for all the counties that you see here in red. And even if there's not a warning in your county, like Salt Lake County, Cache County, you know it's dry. Be extra careful everywhere, even if there's a warning or not. Today's high was 94 degrees with all of that sunshine out there. Yesterday, we were in the upper 90s, and we're going to do it again tomorrow. The past few days here, look at this trend line. We started last week, and we were all excited because there was snow up in the mountains and a lot of rain, and that has just turned off. We hit July 1st, and it was just all over. And now the temperature is going up, up, up. Average high is 91 degrees, and we're going to be in the upper 90s for the next few days. 84 in Salt Lake, it's 71 in Park City, 71 up in Morgan as well, 82 in Vernal, 98 in St. George, holding on to the heat for a few more hours. But with the clear skies tonight, the temperatures will drop. But tomorrow, with all that sunshine, it's just going to be really warm. And like we were just saying here, try to get up to the mountains, try to get into some water, or just stay in the AC. It's going to be hot. 97 degrees, your lucky number on both Monday and Tuesday. And then we kick up the winds, too, so she's going to feel like a hot oven right in the face. All right, you've got high pressure here. That's heading off to the east. Now, high pressure is pretty cool because it circulates the air around in this clockwise motion. So on the back side of it, you get the southwest flow, so that really lets in very warm air and will kick up the breeze ahead of our next upper level system here. Not really going to do much in the way of weather. It'll give us a few clouds. The big thing we'll notice is the heat and the wind over the next couple of days, especially late Monday and into Tuesday. Our morning forecast underneath those clear skies, really nice conditions early in the day. You know, it really starts getting pretty hot at about 10 a.m. If you can get out before then, it's not bad at all. 66 in Salt Lake for an overnight low, 68 in Moab, 71 tonight in St. George, and even in the 50s in northeast Nevada, so not bad there. Mostly sunny in southeastern Utah and totally sunny really everywhere else tomorrow. Lots of sunshine and warm weather. 97 degrees in Salt Lake, 98 for Provo, and 105 in St. George. Lots of people getting up to that century mark tomorrow. The breezy conditions start to really kick in Monday night and into Tuesday. Temperatures around 100 degrees there for the foreseeable future. And it's going to be very warm all across northern Utah. 90s all week, flirting with 100 at the end of the week. A hot July forecast.
The Jazz continue on with their individual player workouts until they fly to Florida on Tuesday. That's where they'll practice as a team for the first time since March as they get ready to resume the NBA season on July 30th. Being connected as a team is something head coach Quinn Snyder talks a lot about, and his players buy into it. But they'll need to reconnect quickly in Florida. But Jordan Clarkson feels like that shouldn't be tough for this team to do.
When I got traded here, I just flew in and, put on a jersey and played. So, and the chemistry just worked soon as I landed. So I think Coach has done a great job of, bringing us all together. So I don't think that's going to take any time for us to really get back into the groove. Maybe the first weeks it might be rusty. You see a bunch of air balls and turnovers and, loose play. But after that, I know Coach will tune it up and, we'll be right back to where we were. I want to go hoop. I'm bored sitting at home and I'm ready to go back to work for real.
I feel good about where our team is. There's obviously a lot to still be done and to happen that we haven't been able to do as far as on the court preparation. But I think guys have been committed to what we're doing and focused. And, everybody's in the same boat when we go down there. And I think our guys understand that and are looking forward to going. Looking forward to playing, I should say.
We'll have much more from the Jazz coming up on the Fox 13 sports page tonight. The relationship between Donovan Mitchell and Rudy Gobert, missing Bojan Bogdanovic, and playing for social equality, plus much more. We'll hear from Morgan Scalley after he was brought back to Utah after using a racial slur, and we'll also check in with RSL and the Royals. Well, it's time for you to shine. Here's another round of highlights from home. This is Jackie, Mariah, and Graham cooling off with some summer fun on a sweet slide. How about Callaway using the bike ramp to get some elevation on his jump shot? Check out this golazo from the team in red. La Roca Girls 07 North dribbles it around the defender and puts it into the back of the net.
My name is Kyra Teese. I'm going to do some soccer skills.
And this kid can play. First the volley, then he sets up the bicycle kick. Want to be on highlights from home? Send your videos to sports at fox13now.com.
Never ending, Jeff. Keep bringing those videos. Keep sending them in.
Yeah, and I'm looking forward to the NBA season. It's slowly but surely starting to get here.
If everything goes well,
yeah.
Right? Cool. Thanks so much. We'll be right back.
Leaving you with this dose of cuteness, the 6-year-old girl in Eastern China, she's going viral with her guitar playing and her sweet voice. The video of her singing the song Fly Me to the Moon has been viewed more than 5 million times. The little girl says she can play 8 instruments, including the drums and the piano. Her family says she just wants to keep her goal simple and pure, brightening people's days and bringing smiles to their faces with music.
She's so good. I want to see what the drum solo looks like next.
I know, 8 instruments. That's incredible.
My goodness. Dina, we had fireworks last night as we closed up shop. Any tonight?
Yeah, there's just a few out there, but last night this whole thing was all lit up. You could just see a couple going off across the valley. So happy end of holiday weekend. Hot weather all week long.
Only a few minutes left to shoot off those fireworks. Be safe. Thanks for joining us for Fox 13 News at 9.
Quick Cast is coming up next. Sports page after that.